Yeah, I'm sitting here with the lady.
He knows the good thing. Vacationer, and now I got my arm across my Jeep with the tree.
Yeah, because it's something that you see with the problem. Yeah, there's like an app that brings up. Or not on his phone. No, it's on.
Let's wait and see what the trick.
But the land on the side, the township.
Cable providers responsible for their section, which is why we didn't.
Oh, I'm not. Yeah, I know, so this is all in.
Well, they need the township, they put pressure on that to clean it up. They're trying to tear apart the dead ones. If it comes down on my car or somebody else's, somebody else is gonna.
So that means that they still have, so when they have, they have to retaliate. Yeah, we talked about it today. Yeah, so some of them are on the board, some of them, but they have them on the property. So when the meeting starts, I know she's going to look at oh, yeah. Well, they're gonna get a lot of options a lot easier. It's, I mean, oh, it's definitely. This is just for that.
Republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Lee?
Here.
Commissioner Deloitte?
Here.
Commissioner Gann? Here. Commissioner Kepler? Here. I'm getting it.
We have an announcement, our open space and police cost recovery ordinance workshop will be held Wednesday, May 13th at 5 p.m. here at this office.
Madam President, if I might, you should announce the executive session this tonight to discuss personnel part of the meeting.
And also tonight, we have an executive session prior to the meeting regarding personnel.
One more.
How about now?
Now you're there.
For public comment, at the beginning of the meeting, you're permitted 3 minutes on the agenda and non-agenda items only, and on actions during the meeting, only Pocono Township residents, stakeholders, and local businesses may speak at the podium and be permitted 1 minute for your comments on that agenda item.
Could you repeat what you said at the very first part where we couldn't hear?
The open space and police cost recovery ordinance workshop will be held Wednesday, May 13th at 5 p.m. here in this building,
Something about personnel.
pardon?
Said something about personnel.
Oh, we held an executive session prior to this meeting regarding personnel. Is there any public comment?
Last meeting, I'm sorry for sitting.
I know. Okay. Yeah, you got it.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Burns. I live in the VOTAC development. And I would like to know, last time we had a meeting on these zonings, which is probably not gonna be discussed tonight, I don't know. But, I'm requesting party status. So if we're doing any township business on the zoning of the VOTAC development, I'm invoking my right to party status.
Yeah, party status is typically a status that is granted by the zoning hearing board. Certainly, any resident can appeal any decision of the board of commissioners. Is not necessarily required, no requirement that you request party status. The resident of the township, and any action is appealable certainly by any resident of the township. As to whether or not it directly affects you, then that's a different story as to whether or not you get standing. But you don't have to, my point is, you don't have to specifically request party status in front of the Board of Commissioners.
Did you want to address something?
The other question that I have is the motion to authorize the township solicitor to redraft the ordinance of 4 parcels. All in favor? The motion carried. Will that be a new ordinance? Is that going to be discussed tonight?
Because it's school.
Where are you reading that from? This
So,
agenda?
minutes of the March 16th meeting.
That's the minutes, you got from the minutes.
So, we're doing a public hearing on that, correct? We have that?
Ultimately, there will be a public hearing, that is correct. I believe that I was authorized to, the draft was redone, to be circulated to the planning commissions, it will then be advertised for the public hearing.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a public hearing on that, and
So the redraft right now is in,
is, right, we have to have a whole other public hearing because we changed the
Yeah,
map.
because a lot of things are changing in that development, and it's not good.
And for that, if you attend that hearing, that's when you would possibly.
Okay, there be no discussing anything to do with the VOTAC development at this meeting?
At this meeting, no, not to my knowledge.
Okay, well, if it does, I'll hang around for a little while. I'm in pain, that's why.
thank you.
You can leave the microphone turned on.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Mr. Teacher, yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Dawn Isle, a resident. I want to talk about Sullivan's Trail. I understand that it's a state road, but I also understand that it's horrible. The trees are hanging down along there. Somebody's going to get hurt. There's dead wood. Actually, I damaged my car less than a month ago because a branch was hanging alongside the road and 2 cars were coming. I've got to stretch, I had no choice, and one of the branches were hanging over and it dragged the side of my car. But when you ride down Sullivan's Trail and you look up on a lot of these trees, if they fall down, they're gonna kill somebody. And they're all dead. And not only are the trees dead, there is a junk pile of dead trees laying along the road. It looks terrible, and I know it's a state road, but there's gotta be something that you guys can do to push them to cut these trees before someone gets hurt. Take a good ride up there and go all the way up to Crescent Lake Road and by Kyle and the DeHaven property and just look up above you. There's massive dead trees just leaning over, and we get a lot of wind. And I'm just curious, it just looks horrible. I mean, there's dead trees laying all over the place down there. So I just wanted to make you aware of it and see if there was anything that you could do to push along to get somebody to clean that up before somebody does get killed.
Pat, can you reach out to the PennDOT?
I know that I'm not
Yes,
the first one
Yeah, I
coming
know.
here.
I don't. So
Right.
yes, I can. And the other thing I would recommend is PennDOT has a website where
Okay.
residents can actually lodge a complaint or a concern. So I
Okay.
would encourage you to do that.
I will.
It's pretty
I will.
intuitive. If there's a pothole, I've never done it for a tree, but with potholes, then they'll follow up. and
Yeah, it's
respond.
not a tree, it's a bunch of trees.
So you can describe your concern on their website. and
Okay.
I would encourage you to do that, but I'll do the same.
Thank you,
All right, well, thank you.
thank you. Any other public comment? Cheryl? Oh, sorry.
Hi, Cheryl Parks, 150 Ruby Lane, resident. So we're up to 26 blasts now. Friday we had 2 within 10 minutes. And I think I filed a complaint, but I'm not sure if I did or not. I think I did. But beside this, now they're gonna blast 4 more times today, or this week, according to the schedule. Last week we didn't get too much notice, but I'm really concerned. I did talk to the guy that I think I filed a complaint with, and then Heath called me back, and I had one of the people with the seismograph come on my property last week, and they just come on the property, and he's walking around my driveway, and then he's getting his boots out, and setting up his stuff, and I asked him why he was there, and he said to measure the stuff, and I said, I did not get permission, and there's no trespassing signs, and I told that to this Heath guy, and so he said, well, what do you want to do, them not come on your property? And I'm going, well, they own the property like 40 feet over, they can go there and measure, which they've done twice, and he's going, well, they're supposed to be 25 feet from the house, and I said, well, this was the second time that somebody had come there. 3 weeks ago somebody came, and before I even noticed he was there, he was already in my backyard setting up stuff, and I said, well, he wasn't 25 feet from my house. I said, I have a deck that's 10 feet wide, a pool that's 30 foot long, and he was 15 feet from that. So that's a little bit more than 25 feet, so where they're setting up next to me on their property is probably 40 feet. Anyway, beside all that, we need to know when, what's going on with the water lines there, because if they're gonna be blasted next to my house, I already have a deck that's torn right off my house, and it's because I had all the ice on the dormer. I can't get anybody up there on the roof yet until my deck gets fixed now. But both times the ice came off the roof was the day they blasted. So it was about a week apart. The first time did damage, the second one ripped it right off my house and cracked my foundation. So now there's a $2,000 deductible I have to pay for my insurance. So until I can get somebody on the roof, I don't know if that caused it. I need to try to keep that from happening again. But it just seems funny to me that both those days were days they blasted. If they're going to be blasting right next to my house, first of all, they didn't do a survey on where the property lines are, and we can't tell by the maps, and they don't look right. So a formal survey, it seems to me, should be warranted for that. And I still don't have an answer on how far away from the property line this stuff is gonna be. And if there's gonna be a road coming up there, are we gonna have people coming up a road that we don't know? Is that gonna be blocked so not everybody can come up there? And, you know, if they're gonna be blasted next to my house, then I don't even know what to say, because right now I've had an earthquake. And I did ask him, I said, well, what's the cumulative effect of my house shaking like that, like 3 or 4 times a week? And he said none, which I find hard to believe because it's like an earthquake. But then I asked him if he had seen the readings from the 2 times now they've been out next to the house taking readings. And he said, oh no, I haven't seen those. So I don't know how you know that. But all I know is my house shakes from the foundation up like an earthquake. Thank you.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter. I was just trying to get it louder.
Any other, Jim, you had public comment? Yeah.
Hey guys. Jim Pellegrini, Spookmore. Noticeably absent is Jerry. No disrespect to Patrick or Jim, who I believe. Check the participants.
Go grab that.
Is this thing on? Is this on?
Is somebody trying to,
Can you hear me?
does somebody need to be on mute?
I don't think it's come through the mic, but you can probably hear me anyway. Okay? Okay, so, like I said, noticeably absent is Jerry. No disrespect to Patrick or Jim, who are on a couple of items on the agenda for acting, I think, township manager. I just want to let you know, I thought Jared was outstanding and a good ambassador for this township. So I'm hoping at some point in this meeting, if not right now, that we get some kind of an explanation of what happened, and as much as you can, let us know what happened, because, you know, obviously, I thought Jared was a stellar individual, still think he is. He's not dead, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I'd like to know what happened, I really would, because every dealing I ever had with him has been nothing but positive, and from what I could see from the work he did, how he did it, I thought he was an outstanding employee. And I know he was with the township for 17 years, which is nothing to sneeze at. He's just a little older than me. All right, well, I hope to hear something about that. If not now, like I said, during the meeting, because obviously this is the meeting. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Go ahead.
Vitaly Braverman, 130 Ruby Lane. Hello everybody, haven't seen each other for a while. So yes, regarding the water line, which is going to be running behind the Ruby Lane, behind our properties, seen some people talking about putting tape on the trees, and I pulled up some information. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. It says in Pennsylvania, commercial blasting generally cannot occur within 300 feet of a residential dwelling, school, church, or hospital without written permission from the owner. Blasting may occur closer than 300 feet if the operator has written permission from the owner. And I am not sure if these people, when they're going to be running the line, they actually, as it was mentioned, they know where our property lines are exactly. So they're just putting tape on the trees. We'll literally need a survey, because it would be a problem for us because we're against a major conglomerate. If a litigation is going to occur, they have lawyers and a retainer. It's going to be a big problem for us. And I'm not sure they're measuring 300 feet from our dwellings as far as where the line is going to go, if they're going to be blasting the same way they're blasting right now. Because that blasting we're feeling in our property, in our homes, even though it's occurring pretty good distance away. So please, we really need the township to kind of monitor this, because we don't want to engage in litigation when we don't have to, when this huge conglomerate is going to just step all over our faces. Thank you so much.
Is there any other public comment? Is there anybody online, Erica?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you.
Hi, this is Patrice Lanucci. I would like to comment on Mr. Burns and his wife Lonnie's home. I visited and saw the incredible building that went up within from 24 to 25 that no one knew really why that went up, but I have I'm contesting those 4 lots too. I know that's not this meeting, but I don't think they should rezone any of them, as things have not been, the way they should be, nor was it proposed to the Planning Commission by Natasha Leap. It said it was for students to be able to build on. Now it's gone to expand the school when it was just expanded, which I also hear a rumor that it is for transitional housing to be sold to a developer. And all of that seems really bad. And the reason why Belvin may not be there, I have no idea, but anyone who was connected to someone who may have had some problems, and I can't even say what, but I'm sure everyone knows, I would assume and hope they are also being investigated, because what I see on Facebook and what I have screenshot and the defamation coming from within volunteers in the fire department and volunteers for some planning commissioners, I don't want to cause problems, but I have it all saved. And our home and our car were broken into last week because of, I would assume, my speaking out. And it's awful, and I hope it stops. And I want the bullying and the board to stop and remove that statement about Charles Kepler from that first page, because he actually does speak up and stand for our community. No one else's stuff and named on, like, hey, don't listen to this guy because what? Because 2 of the commissioners don't like it? You should see some of the stuff I have saved that they post on social media. So somebody should rectify this situation, and that's what I'm going to say. Thank you.
Erica, is there anyone else online for public comment? I do just want to say to Jim and to everybody, I think it's fair to announce at this point that Jared did resign, and there's no further comment from the board at this time. So that's all I can tell you on that, Jim. Yes. Yes. And if there's no further public comment, then I will hand it back to our president. We're just ready to start it.
Okay. Oh, hey, Donna. There's no other public comment, nobody online? Before we begin the hearings, I need to make an announcement. I'm abstaining from the discussion and vote on the LERTA matter due to a potential perceived conflict of interest, as I have a professional client who could benefit from this type of program. So in accordance with the ethics law, I'm doing so to avoid any appearance of conflict. So with that, we need a motion to open the hearing to repeal the LERTA ordinance in its entirety.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to open the hearing to repeal the LERTA ordinance in its entirety.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. Motion carried. Turn it over to you, Leo.
Thank you very much, Madam President. This is a hearing to discuss the repeal of the township's current LERTA ordinance. LERTA is a tax incentive-based ordinance for developers. It was originally put into place with the idea that perhaps the county and school district would want to follow suit on some properties located in Pocono Township. That has since fizzled out, and in order to clean up this matter, the board authorized and the repeal has been duly advertised of this ordinance, and that is the purpose of tonight's hearing.
So does anybody have anything to say regarding this? Any public comment? Anybody online? Okay, with that, I guess we need a motion to close the hearing.
I'll make the motion to close the hearing. Sorry, motion to close the hearing to repeal the LERTA ordinance.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. And then we need a motion to either adopt or not adopt the ordinance repeal the LERTA in its entirety.
Motion to adopt the ordinance to repeal the LERTA in its entirety.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Any discussion?
Point of order, Madam President. After a motion is made and seconded, you're supposed to state the question, so what it is that we will be discussing and then voting on. So you should say, debate on the approval of the ordinance to repeal the LERTA under Robert's Rules of Order.
Okay. Then we are moving on the adoption of the ordinance to repeal the LERTA. Is that what we mean?
Yes, you just state the question. So the motion is made, seconded, and then you state for the public why we are what we are discussing and then voting on clearly.
Okay. I think that's it, to repeal the LERTA in its entirety.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Abstain? Motion carried. Next, we will move on to, once Dawn is ready. You're good? Okay. We're going to move on. I'll make a motion to open the hearing to amend Ordinance 110, Chapter 470, zoning, to add the definitions of fowl and recreation use, public, non-profit, and non-commercial. Is there a second?
Second.
Madam President, may I offer a correction? The motion here only refers to the definitions, but Section 2 of the ordinance to be voted on includes a section on supplementary regulations and customary accessory uses. I believe that should be included in the motion as well.
Okay, I will amend my motion to include that.
Thank you.
I'll accept.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Does anybody have any discussion on the chicken ordinance? Anybody in the public? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to make sure that there's going to be no fee associated with this. Did we iron that out? Because I want to make sure if a permit is required, that there's no fee associated with applying for the permit.
There's no permit.
Certainly not contained in the ordinance as to whether there is or is not a fee. So it was discussed as part of the discussion on this whole chicken situation.
I was
And
saying in the planning commission, the joint meetings, it was discussed.
fees, permit fees?
For chickens.
But it's not in the ordinance you drafted that we're approving tonight.
No, nor.
It's not done. It's in the program.
Then we'll have to readdress it.
The board can amend the township fee schedule to address a specific permit fee. If you would like to not charge a fee, then you can amend that at a later date. Or I think you
point being that if the board does not want to charge a permit fee for chickens, which I believe is the position of the board can do that by adding to its fee schedule possession of domestic chickens, work on the wording, massage the wording, and then where it says fee, it would be 0. The question is then, however, will you require a permit so that zoning knows what's going on? I think Mr. Morgan had indicated that he would like to at least see a permit so there's a record of it in the township. Am I right or wrong?
Agreed, yes.
But not charge a fee for that permit. Is what I think the issue was concerning.
Yes, so essentially the issuance of the permit would give any owner of a property the legal right to have a nonconformity if the ordinance changed in the future, essentially protecting them if a board comes in the future and would like to change or repeal this ordinance, that gives them a protection.
So that would be for another day, right?
That's not the ordinance, that's correct. That's for the fees and permits, that's correct.
Anybody have anything else? Any public comment?
Does this apply to private developers? Chicken business?
Yeah, yes.
You don't allow it?
They do, we do allow it, right, on certain.
The township allows it, but usually the bylaws will supersede, if there's a restriction on chickens in an HOA bylaws, it's gonna supersede what we say.
Right.
We have definitely got in our deeds, all of us, whether they do know it or not, no fowl or animals of any kind are allowed, not animals, but I'm talking about.
Then your homeowners would
Yeah, and you know,
rule over
if we
that.
bought the houses under those conditions, and now all of a sudden you tell me they can bring chickens in, and if they can bring chickens in, then I can bring hogs in, is that correct?
No, an HOA can still exclude chickens inside the association. So this would not overrule the HOA. The HOA would, this is to allow chickens in the township, but an HOA could still say there's no chickens allowed in this HOA.
Okay, and what happens when they do have it? Nobody's doing anything about it anyhow.
Yeah, that would be up to the HOA. If the HOA is going to have a rule, then they're going to have to decide how to deal with it.
That would be civil.
You know, they bring a lot of llamas, chickens, a lot of foxes.
Any other public comment? Anybody online? And we need a motion to close the hearing. I'll move to close the hearing to amend ordinance 110, chapter 470, zoning to add the definitions of fowl recreation, public, non-public, non-commercial, and the supplementary.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. I'll make a motion to adopt the amendment of ordinance 110, chapter 470, zoning to add the definitions of fowl and recreation use, public, non-public, non-profit, non-commercial, and the supplementary changes.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Are you good on that? Okay. Next, I'll make a motion to open the hearing to consider for adoption an ordinance amending the Pocono Township Code of Ordinances, Chapter 333, to add Article 5, which will provide controls for the discharges of wastewaters to the township sewer system and wastewater treatment plants. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And Pat, I believe, was this the fog? Where's,
Correct, yes. This is fats, oils, and greases, all commonly known as the fog ordinance, worked on extensively by Mike Gable, who I asked to call in tonight, in case there are any other questions from an engineering standpoint. And it has to do with a program or establishing a program to address fats, oils, and greases before they are deposited into our sewer system. Correct there, Mr. Patrick?
That is correct.
anybody have any comments? Public, any comments? Anthony?
Will that ordinance allow for
Could you please step up to the mic and state your name? Thank you.
Anthony Mulla, Henryville. Pat, will the grease trap ordinance allow for business type grease traps, or must they be buried and outside the building?
So the current township sewer manual requires any new construction, all the grease traps be outside. Any existing commercial kitchen, as long as there was an existing grease trap, that can remain as long as it is in compliance.
So what you're saying is new restaurants will have to have subgrade grease traps?
Yes, so any new construction or change of use from some other use to a restaurant.
And can you just explain from my own knowledge why that is a good idea? Because I have some restaurants where I found that having some problems with external buried grease traps and the ability to service those as compared to inside the restaurant. Clearly just for information purposes.
Generally, it's easier to see if they are being maintained by the township, so without having to order to show us availability inside. They're generally larger in size, so if there is a missed kind of pumping schedule, it's not going to be detrimental to the sewer system. Other than that, I don't know if Pat wants to kind of add on to that.
I think the other obvious benefit is if there's a problem outside, it's easier to access that tank than if it's something that's internal. It's not to say that internal traps won't work. There are situations where they do work. But it's certainly the access and the ability to inspect the outside traps.
My opinion on this is that one shirt size doesn't fit all correctly, and that there are circumstances and situations where it would be better internally. As an operator, we discover when it's backed up internally before we discover it being a problem if it's external. So whether there's going to be any flexibility in that, whether there will be variances, room for design, of course, engineers review design all the time. I just wanted to know if it was completely exclusive to external grease traps, and if it is, that sometimes can be a problem for the operator, that's all.
Is there any other public comment? Okay. I will make a motion to close the hearing to consider adoption for an ordinance amending the Pocono Township Code of Ordinances, Chapter 333, to add Article 5, which will provide controls for the discharges of wastewater to the township sewer system and wastewater treatment plants. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any public comment? Online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Next, we need a motion to adopt or not, the ordinance of amending the Pocono Township Code of Ordinances, Chapter 333, to add Article 5, which will provide controls for the discharges of wastewater to the township sewer system and wastewater treatment plants. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to adopt the ordinance of amending the Pocono Township Code of Ordinances, Chapter 333, to add Article 5, which will provide controls for the discharges of wastewaters to the township sewer system and wastewater treatment plants. Do I have a second?
Seconded by Commissioner Leap. Is there any discussion? Is there any public comment? Jim?
What's the difference between that bullet item and the 2 above it?
We motioned to open the hearing, we motioned to close the hearing, now we're motioning to adopt the ordinance.
That's why you should state the question.
Any public comment? Online, Erica? No? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, next, we need a motion to approve a consent agenda of the following items. Yes? Oh, sorry, Donna. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you, Ms. Donna.
Thanks. Thanks, Donna. We need a motion to approve a consent agenda of the following items. Old business consisting of the minutes of March 16th, regular meeting of the BOC, financial transactions through April 6th as presented, including ratification of expenditures in the amount of $541,636.62 for the following accounts: general fund, sewer, operations, gross payroll, capital reserve, construction fund. I will make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to motion to request information from the solicitor. Are we allowed to, under the municipal, I guess, the municipal governance in second class or first class townships, are we allowed to adopt these sorts of things by unanimous consent, or do we need to go through a vote for these sorts of things?
I'm not sure I understand what you mean by these sorts of things.
Well,
No, I don't.
I suppose, well, yeah. So any, I suppose any business, are we allowed to adopt business through unanimous consent as allowed under Robert's Rules of Order, or do we need to go through the, do we need to vote on each individual thing? Typically, when you have something that is not, not something that would generally bring up much debate, you can request unanimous consent to adopt the measure. If no one objects, then you can move forward with adoption without having to go through the debate, vote, to move it along. I'm just curious if that's something that you're aware of, or is there something preventing us from doing that in the future?
Well, typically with these items, there have been comments and commissioners have asked individually to have certain items broken out so they're not considered in one large motion. If you want to do it by unanimous consent, I'm concerned that you're going to lose the ability to challenge whether money should have been transferred, should be transferred, where's it coming from, where's it going, and that's all contained in your bill passage. So at least this way, when the motion is made, a request can be made to carve one or many of the matters out of the general motion.
Under unanimous consent, my understanding is you're still allowed to object, but I understand. We'll move ahead. Thank you.
I believe I motioned to approve. Charles, you seconded. Is there discussion? Is there any public comment? Online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. On to new business. Is there a motion to approve the Phase 2 co-stream quote based on TNM's letter dated 2/18?
And just for the record, I did review it per last meeting, and the agreement is fine. It mirrors the first agreement that we signed.
I will motion to approve the Phase 2 co-stream quote based on TNM's letter. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any public comment? Online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Reading of TLC. Hold on a second. All right. We did solicit bids for pedestrian bridges at TLC Park. The letter states T&M Associates have reviewed the bids received by Pocono Township via pen bid on Monday, April 6th with the TLC Park pedestrian bridge replacement project. The following bids were received from 6 bidders. Manichi Inc., I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Base bid is $127,000. Base bid plus alternate bids is $142,000. CMR Construction bid $134,681. With alternate bids, it was $173 and $113. Cobalt Construction bid $164,475. With alternates, it was $197,475. Baseline Contracting bid $203,079 and 25 cents. With alternates, it was $245,823 and 25 cents. Bi-State Construction Company bid $231,175 and 50 cents. With alternates, it was $296,175 and 50 cents. And Mar Allen was the last bid. Concrete Products Inc. $259,789. With alternates, it was $283,749. So, are we looking to award this tonight? I don't see it on there, but
yes, we were. That was discussed because we're trying to keep a schedule to get this done as early in the summer as we can, so it doesn't interfere with usage of the park.
Leo, can we vote to add this to the agenda? A motion to?
It says, Commissioner Long, it says, and the motion to award of the contract.
Oh, I see, sorry. I thought it was just reading up the...
Yeah, when you first read it, it looks like it's just reading the bids, but it's and motion to award.
Okay.
Now, my recommendation would be that we just award the base bid at this point in time. The alternate is to put stone facing on the wing walls and the abutment. There's been some discussion as to whether Public Works can do that or not. If we determine that they can't, the alternate bid can be awarded at a later date to Manichi, since he was the low bidder.
Okay. Well, then I'll make the motion to award the contract for the TLC Park pedestrian bridge to Manichi Inc. for $127,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Public comment? Manichi Inc. M-I-N-I-C-H-I Inc. No public comment online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we need a motion to repair, replace Johnson Controls environmental engine. Is there a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Sorry, Mr. Vice President?
Yeah.
Yeah, President Gannett questioned me on this. I don't recall receiving it, and I haven't had the opportunity to review that contract. I asked her to send me a copy, so it's not, I have not yet reviewed it. So I think a motion to table at this point would be appropriate until next meeting.
Okay. And just so everyone knows, Ellen was, President Gannett was not feeling well, so I think she did leave. So I'm fine with tabling. Do we just motion to table? Do we have to
Motion to table. Motion to table with a second and no discussion, go right to vote.
Yeah, so I'll motion to table.
Second.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
No discussion. All those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that is tabled. Is there a motion to approve advertising for the annual township material bids?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Any discussion on that?
We need the material.
Any public comment? Online? Good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Is there a motion to approve the purchase of a 2026 F-250 Super Cab as approved in the capital budget?
Sure is. I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? I will second. Is there any discussion?
Just motion to request information, Mr. Vice President, if you be so kind.
You're requesting information from me?
I'm supposed, so usually you make a motion to request information, so I would like to make a motion to request information from Patrick Riegel, Public Works, if you allow.
Yeah.
What is it for?
This is a truck for our road crew, and it's needed. It's CoStar's price.
I remember
And
talking about it.
it's in the budget. Yeah, it's actually under the budget line item that we put in there.
Any other discussion? Any public comment? Go ahead.
Is it gonna be the right color so we don't have to pay to repaint it?
Color's white.
Any other public comment? Online?
Yes.
Go ahead, please just state your name.
It's Patrice Lanucci again.
Go ahead, Patrice.
It's for what, $71,000 for a truck for our new manager and our sewer guy? Is that what it's for?
It is for Public Works, correct? It's for Public Works, Patrice, yes.
So, do we have a truck now?
Pat, do you want to say anything on this?
Yeah, Patrice, this is, if you're referring to me, it's not a truck for me. This is a truck for the Public Works Department.
That's the question I'm asking. Does the Public Works Department have a truck now?
It's very old, right, Pat?
I'm just asking.
How old is it, Pat?
There's a 2017 that's in the fleet, but it's aged. So this is going to go in the fleet.
Is there any other public comment online?
Yeah, Josh now. Quick question. How many miles on the truck you have?
Pat, do you know off the top of your head? Sorry, we don't know, Josh, but we can get back to you on that.
Not essential. I just wanted to make the point they need the truck.
Yes, we do. Any other public comment online? Or in person? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, I'll make a motion to waive the fees for Pocono Garden Club for Pavilion 1 on 8/12/2026. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any public comment? Online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I'll also make a motion to waive the fees for Pocono Mountain West Boys Wrestling on Pavilion 2, May 3rd, 2026. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any public comment? Online. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Motion to schedule park board meeting. Do we need a motion for this, Leo? To schedule? There's my first park meeting.
Who is now that there's been a resignation also of Ms. Gambino, who is running the park board? Has anybody?
This may have been a carryover from my item on the agenda, so I would say probably best just to move past this for now. I'll try reaching out to, unless somebody else wants to reach out to the park board members.
So at your pleasure, I can reach out to the park board members, but to the board, my recommendation, my strong recommendation would be Brian Espenshot, who's the parks manager. I've actually spoken with him. He's comfortable in meeting with them, and I think it makes sense. He's most familiar with the parks. He spends most of his time there. So with the board's consent, I think he would be the wise choice for that position.
All right, so we will skip this for now, unless anyone wants to discuss that name further.
Mr. Vice President,
Yeah.
if I might.
Do we need a motion to table?
The floor. No, I don't think there was a motion made on it. But the biggest question that I think is left now, besides who's going to organize and run the park board, is do the Board of Commissioners, the commissioners want these to be public meetings? If so, prior to meeting, they must be properly advertised. But that's a policy decision for the board that you may want to just touch on as you're moving forward to, because you're in park season, rapidly approaching, probably already started, they're already open, so you may want to just at least get a policy set for whether or not you want these to be public.
Are we allowed to hold non-public meetings?
Yeah, they don't act on anything. They're a recommending body. They have no right to spend money, and they're just a consulting recommending body. So they can be, at the request of the board, they don't have to be public.
All right, then. Duly noted. Is there a motion to rescind the Mountain View parking fee for 2026?
Yeah, so I'd just like to make a brief presentation. We received this parking feedback here. It looks like our net income was nearly negative $5,000, negative $4,816. So I would like to make a motion to rescind the parking fee for Mountain View Park.
I'll second for the purpose of discussion at least. Is there discussion?
I mean, it was discussed for it to be a 2-year pilot.
I'm personally against parking fee, but who knows? Maybe we'll be tied without one. I'm not sure.
So, Patrick, would you like to weigh in? Because I know that you had direct conversations with the park employees regarding this fee and how they felt about it.
I understand the benefit of it kept some of the problems down. But sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, the pros and cons are, the benefit is that they saw less wear and tear, if you will, on the park equipment last year. And they supported it. They really didn't have any issues with residents' complaints. I didn't field any direct complaints regarding residents' concerns. And of course, there were exceptions made for, township residents. But I don't have a strong feeling either way, other than we did talk about it being a 2-year pilot.
Mr. Vice President, if I may have the floor.
Sure.
I just have a handful of concerns about this. I mean, as a father taking my son to the park, I noticed it was significantly less busy than it was in previous years, and as a playground, it's not much fun going to a playground when there aren't other kids there, especially one the size of Mountain View Park. You're on your own when you're there playing, and kids play with each other. I would also note that, as someone who occasionally has relatives come in from out of town to visit, if we want to go with grandma to the park, it's inconvenient to have everyone come back to one house to load up into one car so that she doesn't end up having to pay to get into the park and park. So there are all sorts of things that end up being a deterrent. The park is also a great way to get people out of the resorts in town and the hotels and get them out into our community where they may stop at a local business, spend some money, whereas they may otherwise not leave those resorts. They may stay on site the entire time with food and lodging and entertainment's all on site. This is just one more reason for people to leave and spend money at our local businesses. So personally, I don't agree with the parking fee. I would like to see it rescinded. Thank you.
Just for clarification, all residents of Monroe County are free to get into the parks. It's not charging for anyone outside of Pocono Township. Everyone in Monroe County is free to get in the parks. And I understand that you're drawn to tourists to bring to Mountain View Park. However, the taxpayers of Pocono Township are the ones that pay for that park. So if there's a decrease in trash and riffraff by charging that fee, I think we owe that to Pocono Township residents.
What about the argument that it brings people out of the resorts and then they're going to maybe Zach's Taco Shack or Barley Creek or wherever? I mean, that seems like a good argument that would benefit Pocono Township residents as well.
It would, but Zach's Taco Shack has nothing to do with Mountain View Park. So just because they're going to Zach's Taco Shack doesn't mean they're going to Mountain View. And if they want to bring their family to Mountain View, it's $10 a carload. So if a family of 5 or 6 is going, it's $10. That's all it is. It's not like it's $100 to get in the park. It's $10. If you want to use the facilities that are paid for by our taxpayers, you pay $10.
I get it. Is there any other discussion on it? Any public comment on it? On parking fees for the park?
Frank Greeley Township resident. I would definitely be in favor of keeping the fees because it will definitely help, maintain the park long term. And ultimately, if people are coming down out of state, if they have to pay $10 for parking, that's not going to stop them. They're spending thousands at the resorts, so $10 is not going to stop them. They go there anyway, so that's my thought on it. Because then it's just cheaper. It helps us as township residents to, afford the park.
This program lost money.
There was a lot of hiccups last year. I didn't start charging it until like mid-season.
Yeah.
So there was a meeting earlier in the year from Jen in like September or October, if you go back to the minutes. Jen indicated that there was lots of hiccups and the program didn't run smoothly, which is why it was recommended to be a 2-year program because a lot of the hiccups got out in the first year. So they would do a pilot of Memorial to Labor Day this year to see how it was. If it loses money, you ixnay. Obviously we don't lose money. But she had indicated that she thought it was going to be a success this year, if ran correctly.
I mean, that's my 2 cents. Just I think that if they're going to spend the money at the resorts, then an extra $10 for parking or whatever it would be, I don't think that's going to deter them.
Well, if I may have the floor, Mr. President, the issue is that not that they can't afford it, it's that they wouldn't bother to go at all because why would they want to spend $10? They don't even know what's there. They don't live here. If they hear a rumor there's a cool park and it's free to get into, they might go out and, again, spend money at local businesses, go out to eat while they're out. If they hear there's a park you have to pay $10 to get into, they'll be like, why bother? I mean, that's my perspective on it.
I work this area as well, and I think the pilot plan is a great idea. I think that we shouldn't crash and burn it until we see. And as to most of your vacationers up here, they're going to spend money whenever. If they're going to go to the park, they're going to spend money. I've dealt with them for many, many years up at Camelback, and I still deal with them. They all have money. If they're going to do whatever their children want to do, believe me when I tell you. And I do think that we got to give it a trial. It's a crash and burn. It was a 2-year. Why don't we just do the 2 years? And then if it's not profitable, then talk about it. I just don't think that park is going to change anything that anybody else does. It's one park, and it's only in that little cluster. And if they do come down even off Camelback Mountain or out of those places, they're going to go right back up that mountain. What you should focus more on is what you're doing inside the town versus that park. So that's just my opinion as a 25-year licensed real estate agent in this area, that I think we should have let the pilot at least finish itself out and then see where we land. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other public comment? Jen?
Natasha, what are they going to do with the money if they're profitable?
Was it going, Patrick, correct me if I'm wrong, it was going right back into the parks. Jim asked if the program becomes profitable in any way, what are we doing with that money? The goal was to put it back into the parks,
Put it
correct?
back to the parks.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And so, Charles, I mean, what's the difference in amenities? I know there's a difference in size between the TLC park, which is free, and the other park.
Well, the issue is Mountain View Park is much larger, significantly larger. There's a lot more to do there. It's also hidden back from the road where you can't see it, so people driving by wouldn't really be familiar with what's up there. I have seen increased, as a father, I've seen increased traffic down at TLC Park. And when we go up to Mountain View, there's hardly anyone there, meaning, not much reason to go up there because there aren't other kids to play with. It's desolate, it's lonely, at least in my experience.
Okay, fair enough. And you would be opposed to the 6-month trial thing? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, we've already had a year-long trial, and it lost $5,000, so I don't want to continue losing taxpayer money. It's hurting the park. It's hurting, our kids' ability to play and have fun. And
well, you're out of town children. You're out of town children the ability to play, right? Because your kids, you go free, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, other people in the community or other people from outside the community who come in, and when we go there to play, if there are no other kids to play with, it's significantly less fun. I mean, I know, I used to be a kid, and it's not fun playing on your own at the playground.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Any other public comment? Yeah, go ahead.
Kyle Hazelton, Township resident. Just have a quick question. Outside of the parking attendant, is there any staff that are there consistently at the park?
Yes, there's staff that are on staff to perform regular park duties, and then for the period of time that park fee is charged, there are designated parking attendants who collect the revenue.
So in effect, it would, no matter how you cut it, it still helps offset operating costs, correct?
Well, it lost money, right?
It lost money because we paid additional staff.
The parking attendant is why it lost money.
The additional fee, the additional cost of the parking attendant, yeah.
So you got to pay someone to collect it, and that was higher than.
I mean,
what
you're
the
going to have
parking
somebody
rate.
there anyway.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
So,
there's going to be someone there, but to pay someone to collect the fee is what is the reason they lost money.
If they're not there collecting the fee, helping to reduce whatever, you're going to end up potentially spending more on trash pickup and whatnot on the other end. It's almost a double-ended sword. Anyway, thank you.
Is there any other public comment in person? Any public comment online?
Josh.
Go ahead, Josh.
You got to give this program a chance. I think that there's been lots of comment on how it was tried, and then a couple of missteps were happened. If you don't, we lose out on an opportunity to hopefully grow.
Thanks, Josh. Anybody else online? Hey, Pat, before we vote, I have a question. Assume that's okay. I guess my question is, why do we think it's going to become profitable? I mean, I understand there were hiccups, but walk me from the $5,000 loss in year one to profitability in year two.
I don't know that it is going to become profitable.
Okay.
But I know there's a consideration, and this was expressed by the staff, for
the issues.
Right. So there's an offset of, like, perhaps what are you not spending on repairing equipment that was damaged, that didn't get damaged by misuse. I don't know how you really measure that, but I think if you play out another year and it doesn't work out, then you can't,
The goal when I was the one who initiated this originally, the goal was never to become profitable. It wasn't to make all this extra money off of people joining the parks. We kind of looked at it as if we break even, fantastic. And we would negate a lot of the problems that came along with people who didn't want to pay. And if it made a little money, fantastic, we put it back into, the parks. But it never was supposed to be a cash cow for the township. It was just trying to regulate the riffraff and the nuisances that happened at Mountain View Park.
Point of order, Mr. President. I just want to state that Commissioner Leap has exhausted her right to debate on this matter. She's spoken 2 times.
You've spoken 4 times.
I responded to questions, and you've spoken more than 2 times.
All right. Let's vote.
Thank you.
Let's do a roll call vote, please. I think I know how this is going to go, but let's do it.
Commissioner Lee?
No.
Commissioner Valari?
No.
Commissioner Long?
Yes.
And Commissioner Kemp?
Yes.
So motion fails. Moving on. All right, so we need a motion to ratify the appointment of James Wagner and Patrick Briel.
I believe you skipped my motion here.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You want to take it away?
So this came up at the last planning meeting, joint planning meeting. I wanted to make a motion to draft an amended zoning map returning 4122 and 4128 Cherry Lane Road to R1 zoning. If I have a second.
You have comments on this?
I'll second to discuss. Is there discussion amongst the board on this?
It is for sorry.
Yeah, so this parcel, I'd like to, let me grab the map. These two parcels are along Cherry Lane Church Road, which is a township road. They exclusively touch Cherry Lane Church Road. I don't see why these were changed to commercial from residential. These were originally residential. It's a residential neighborhood. It's a smaller community on a smaller road. It's also situated, these two parcels are situated around a lake which ultimately feeds down into the cranberry bog. I think that the decision to change these to commercial may have been an oversight on the part of the board. I don't think it is a very good idea to leave these commercial just because of the area. I think changing them back to residential to conform with the rest of the neighborhood would help to maintain the quality of life of the residents as well as the natural runoff, keeping it clean for the bog downstream.
So this is where Cooks, or it's not Cooks anymore, what's it called now? Lombardo's? That's commercial, right? So there is some commercial there?
So the commercial is along 715. It is not along Cherry Lane Church Road. There's no commercial property along Cherry Lane Church Road.
But this connects with the commercial property?
It touches the commercial property on 715, but these parcels are along Cherry Lane Church Road, which is a municipal road. 715, I believe, is a state road. So that road, it makes sense to have it, commercial along that corridor. We rezoned a few parcels along 715 for commercial because we're trying to build more of a commercial corridor there. This one is off of the main road, off on a side street, a quieter street. I'm concerned that, again, a large development there. I'm not sure what will be going in there, restaurants, apartments, whatever it may be. That's not really what that neighborhood is like. It's a smaller, quieter neighborhood on a township road. I think it may have been changed in haste. And my understanding at the meeting was that it was at the request of a specific developer. So I really think that we should consider returning it to R1 so that it can conform with the rest of the neighborhood.
Is there any other discussion on the board?
There was a full-on hearing regarding the changing of this. It was requested. It is touching commercial property. It was also discussed that the property across the street, which is currently the lumber yard, was going to be changed to C1 as well in the zoning rewrite. So that whole little corridor, that whole little pocket was discussed to be changed to C1.
Any other discussion on the board? Everyone good? Public comment? Go ahead. Sorry, you can go.
Oh, is it this developer?
Oh, 1 second. We'll go to online next. We have in-person comment. Go ahead.
Anthony Muller. So first of all, I'd like to say that I recognize and I respect, that's important, recognize and respect that the supervisors of the township they're entitled and they've got every bit of the right to decide which properties become zoned, in particular commercial, in alignment with their vision. So I respect if your vision's a little different than someone else's, your vision is what overrides. So I respect that. What I don't respect is that these two properties were zoned collectively with 19 properties in total, and that you have singled out the two that are owned by my family. And I take that as a personal discrimination against us. It does, you just falsified information publicly that it is not commercial. It is. It borders commercial lands. It borders 715, not just Cherry Lane. It wraps the corner. At one point in time, before you were probably born, it had been operated as a commercial, it had a commercial operation. It might have been commercially operated as a non-conforming use. It may have been permitted, but it was commercial. It was operated as an inn. Now we've gone ahead and looked at this 19 properties in this community as the Board of Supervisors, the then current Board of Supervisors, They made decisions in alignment with their vision, and now you've come along and your own personal vision is not in alignment with theirs, and you've chosen to take these two pieces of property owned by my family and singled them out. I have a tremendous problem with that. And any action that you take with regard to drafting an ordinance or reversing it specifically to these two properties, I will bring about any and every possible remedy at law against the township. Now, I have not engaged an attorney, but the attorney in which I would plan on doing this has gotten the largest award against a municipality for $50+ million on the basis of discrimination. He's unnamed because I haven't talked to him yet. But I would bring that gentleman in here and talk about the methods in which you're doing the things. Again, I respect and acknowledge your ability to do things properly, but I cannot stand for this kind of discrimination, and I ask this board to reverse and not take any action whatsoever singularly against these properties. But collectively, I have no problem with what you decide. Thank you.
I'd just like to note to the public what we have to deal with here when we try to act in behalf of the residents against people who have a great deal of power in our community.
He's correct, though. You're singling him out.
Is there any other public comment in person? Go ahead, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? You're next. Sorry. Come.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
My name is Linda Dietz. I live on Cherry Lane Church Road.
Could you pull your mic in? It's difficult
Oh,
to hear.
yeah.
Sorry.
How's that? Better?
Thank you.
Okay. I live on Cherry Lane Church Road. I live right next to Lombardo's restaurant. I would like to know how the rezoning occurred on just a request. How did that happen?
I don't know. I wasn't on the board. I don't know if anyone wants to speak to that. You don't have to.
The prior Board of Commissioners looked at properties and determined that certain properties, and I don't know if Mr. Mull is correct when he said 19, I didn't think it was quite that many, but regardless, my understanding, and I was not involved personally in this, ma'am, so I apologize, but my understanding is that the owners of the properties were spoken with and agreed to be included in a rezone from residential to commercial. At that point in time, the Board of Commissioners, it was the last board, authorized my office to prepare a zoning amendment that amended and changed the use on those properties from residential to commercial. Once that amendment was drafted, it was reviewed by the Monroe County Planning Commission, and it was also reviewed by the Pocono Township Planning Commission. Both were at public meetings. The matter was then advertised. A public hearing, if you were here earlier this evening, you saw public hearings on ordinances was held, and then after the close of the public hearing portion, a motion was made to grant and change the zoning. So that's how it happened.
That's how it happened,
Yes.
which I was completely unaware of, considering my house is smack in the middle of it. Of course, I'm against it, but I would like to know what is proposed for that property, because you're gonna lose a lot of wildlife. You're gonna lose. I mean, I think my property value is going to go down. There are wetlands back there, lots of birds and animals. Great, it's a great property, and I would like to know what's going to be done to that property.
There are no plans right now.
There are no pending plans for those properties right now, and quite frankly.
But apparently there will be, because you don't rezone something to commercial if you're not planning on building. Correct?
We don't have any plans, and I'm happy to talk to you about it.
We've spoken before.
I haven't spoken.
No, maybe I've spoken to the owner.
You're
Ken.
one of my family members, yes.
Yes. I'm not pleased at all, but I just wanted to ask you how that passed so quickly. Thanks.
Is there any other public comment in person? Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Randy Pachaka, resident. I didn't like any of them that were approved at that meeting. I don't think any of them should have been turned commercial. It's not business to all of us, it's all of them. Most of them are wetland, and I don't know why you pre-approve them. You know, if they had them as residential and they wanted to do something commercial. Once you do it commercial, now it's out of control. Now we have no say in what they do. Thank you.
Any public comment online?
Yes.
Go ahead, please just state your name.
My name is Patrice Lanucci, and as well as the zoning commercial of those lots, as the 81-year-old veteran sitting on the front row who MCTI wants to rezone to R2, then wants to just do 4, and it's directly next to his home in a wetland, I would like to know who posed the prior approval to the Planning Commission. Was it the same person who sent this prior comment that this handicapped young elder veteran has to deal with this, and these people on Cherry Lane Church Road have to deal with this? It's wrong. It shouldn't be happening. We live in a wet, wonderful wilderness. Someone answer who sent it to planning. Both of them.
Again, I wasn't on the board at the time. I don't know if anyone here wants to.
I know it wasn't you.
Does anybody want?
I believe someone just spoke up hard for the
1 second.
the man.
Ma'am, it was a proposed zoning amendment. There are specific requirements for zoning amendments. And
Correct.
those zoning requirements require authorization from the board to draft the proposed ordinance, approval of that ordinance, then the ordinance is, by law, it has to be sent to both planning commissions, both.
Leo, I'm familiar with the whole process. I appreciate it, but there seems to be a pattern here of development, developers, certain commissioners, and what goes on, and it needs to be looked into. Thank you.
Thanks, Patrice. Anybody else online or in person? Oh, Frank?
Frank Ridley, Township resident. This property, I believe the one you're referring to, sold last year in July, on July 7th for $632,000. It's a 33.1 acre lot. There's two lots side by side. As far as I know, at the Planning Commission meeting, the joint meeting we had, the last 2 of them, I was at both of them. From what I remember, the Lombardi's is not actually commercial. It's a whatever it's used. Non-conforming, right? So it's still residential, but it's non-conforming. These other 2 lots behind it, if they sold, I mean, I guess you bought it from your own family, is I guess what would happen, because they were for sale, and anybody could have bought them back, you know, in July of 25. So I guess my point is that if those lots are commercial, the other issue at these meetings that came up were the 3 lots on Shine Hill that are residential that were also considered commercial. So I don't know if that's part of the same thing, but I had mentioned that at those meetings as well, because I think that there's a house built on the one, and I get that you can build houses on commercial lots, but the problem is then you end up with problems like they have over at Core 5, when you have residents who are getting dynamited. So, you know, that doesn't exactly go well for people in the neighborhood because something was switched to commercial. So maybe all 19 lots need to be relooked at. I don't know.
Yeah, I would just note that the difference with the lots along Shine Hill Road is that they are adjacent to commercial property also along Shine Hill Road. These 2 parcels are along Cherry Lane Church Road, along which there's no commercial property on Cherry Lane Church Road aside from these 2 properties.
I think the ones on Shine Hill you're referring to are the large lots on the opposite side of the road. I'm referring to the 3 small lots across from
Shine Hill Stone.
Yes.
Any other public comment? 1 second, Cheryl. Come.
I just have to correct Charles on this. It does adjoin a commercial lot. The portion of the property that comes out onto 715, the neighbor to the right as you look at it from 715 is commercial. So it already adjoins commercial. The non-conforming use should be commercial, the restaurant. Some ideas that we've had for this, I'm an apartment building developer. Everyone on the board knows that. We don't have plans of putting a large commercial multifamily housing place on this piece of property. We also own a wedding venue. Many people in this community have been married there. They celebrate in a barn wedding style. It is kind of the Pocono way to have a wedding. It's beautiful. A lot of people have started their families there. They've married, had children, still part of the community, local. So this is a perfect type of a property for a barn wedding venue with a pond, a nice house there, possibly as Lombardo's comes up for sale, it could be the catering kitchen for such a place. There are a lot of nice ideas that benefit the community, Charles. It's not going to be a large-scale apartment. There's no sewer and water there. It would be impractical and not appropriate. These are community things, and I'm all about talking to people about them, neighbors about them, if people want to have open conversations and they want to listen. Ideas are cumulative. If you can come to a solution where somebody coming from one direction and another meet in the middle, that's usually the best solution. I just don't like the way it's being done where it's been targeted. And I'd like you to retract that and then get to a point where you can kind of conversate and decide what's best for the community. And then if you decide collectively with all these other lots you want to change that, as I said to start, I started with respect. I respect the process, and I hope you do too.
Sure.
I just want to say that the reason we have that warehouse going in was we were never notified back when that was changed to commercial. No one was notified. Nobody was notified on Kevin's Way. And then we were told that, oh, it was done in '83. Well, I didn't move in there till '87, and it was not commercial when I bought it. And then nobody could show me a map when they amended it. And now, I put a right to know, and they said, oh, it was done in '81. Well, if it was done in '81 to commercial, they didn't have to do anything in '83. And then that map that I got was from 1988. And the whole reason I'm saying this is that this whole commercial stuff and people not being informed about stuff is why we have a warehouse now. And that was, over 250-year-old forest that was cut down for that. And it's just not what the Poconos were, but we're just being, as residents there, and poor Kevin's Way people have just been obliterated. And now I haven't had peace there since the kennel moved in. So for the last 3 years, we have just been tortured on our road. So I just want to say that, we were told that they had to let the kennel in there because it was commercial, but yet in a commissioners meeting, you can change it in 5 minutes. So why couldn't they change ours?
Thank you. Is there any public comment online? Is there any, we had a motion, discussion. Let's do a roll call vote, I think. Jim, or Pat? We do a roll call vote.
Roll call, okay. Commissioner Lee?
No.
Commissioner Lardy?
No.
Commissioner Wong?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm voting no because I don't want to do it piecemeal. I'm open to looking at it as part of the zoning rewrite, but I'm voting no on this.
Commissioner Keller?
Aye.
All right, motion fails. Now, tried to do this earlier. I will make a motion to ratify the appointment of James Wagner and Patrick Briegel as acting managers Do I have a second? Is there any public discussion? No discussion. Is there any public comment?
Isn't Jim a police guy?
Yes. Yes, Jim is the police chief. He is going to be one of our 2 acting managers right now. I think it's fair to say that Chief Wagner's taking the personnel side of things as his lead, and Mr. Briegel's taking operations as his. They've been working very well in tandem to make sure everything's going smoothly. Any other public comment? Online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I'll also make a motion to add the stipend of $1,000 per week each for the acting manager role to Jim Wagner and Patrick Briegel to be paid as a separate line item subject to all payroll taxes and pension calculations. Is there a second?
Second.
I just want to say the stipend for both of them combined is still less than what Jared was making. So taxpayers are saving money on this current situation, and I think we owe a debt of gratitude to Pat and Jim for stepping up and doing this, and they've been doing a fantastic job. Is there any other discussion on the board?
I would also just note, it's not just a debt of gratitude that we're doing it. These guys are doing a lot of extra work on top of their regular responsibilities to have to pick up the slack. It really is commendable that they're taking on these extra hours, doing all this extra work. So, I want to make sure that they're compensated for that.
Thank you, thank you.
Anybody else on the board have anything? Public comment? Online? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I'm also going to make a motion to appoint James Wagner as our acting EMC, Emergency Management Coordinator. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Any discussion? Public comment? Any online? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion. Did you say no? Sorry. So 3 yeses, 1 no on that. Motion passes. I'm also going to make a motion for our solicitor to draw up the 2026 renewal contracts for Chief of Police at an annual salary of, Leo, I think you have this? You want to do this one?
Yeah, I do. I've been asked to put together contracts for the Chief of Police at an annual salary of $127,920, and for the Director of Public Works at an annual salary of $127,036. Benefits being the same as the last contract, and it should be through the meeting of January. I turn it over to you, Mr. Long.
I think.
1-year contract, 2-year contract.
Well, is there a motion? I didn't make a motion yet.
Okay, but that's what the motion would be, and also to include the term.
Anyone want to make a motion?
Can we split the motions?
Sure.
So I'll make the motion to have the solicitor adopt 2026 renewal contracts for Chief of Police at an annual salary of, what was it,
920.
$920, and for Director of Public Works an annual salary of
036.
036. Is there a second?
Second.
I thought you wanted to split them.
I do. I don't want to do the
benefits.
Well, the benefits are the same, but I don't want to do the contracts. I'm not in agreement with a 2-year contract.
Okay.
So I want to appoint the contracts, yes or no, as far as the board, and then we vote on the terms as a secondary motion.
I got you. Mike, you seconded?
Yes.
Any discussion? Public comment? Online? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Natasha, do you want to keep going?
I'll make a motion to allow the benefits the same as last contract for the first meeting of January 2027 and retro to January 1st, 2026.
Second.
Any, oh, sorry.
Just so I can speak during discussion, not that I'm opposed to giving them particularly 2-year contracts. It's always been 1-year contracts historically through all of our management positions. It's always been 1 year. So my position is just stick with what we had. Again, it's nothing personal. I would love to give them 2 years if we've always had 2 years, but customarily we've always had 1.
That's fine with me. Any other discussion? Public comment? Online? All in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. I think let's skip this last part unless someone wants to talk about it. I think this was Ellen's. Anybody want to talk about this? Motion to discuss manager's ordinance? Then we will skip that for now. President's report, I believe we can skip as well. I don't have anything additional to the agenda, so Commissioner Velarde, do you have anything?
No.
Commissioner Lee? Commissioner Kepler?
Yes, I just wanted to read this letter that was received by the Board of Commissioners from the Eastern Monroe Public Library. It was received in advance of last meeting, but it wasn't provided to us until the meeting. So I just want to read it for the public because I thought it was important that the public hear it. Dear members of Pocono Township Board of Commissioners, we are writing to you in response to an email sent in February to Cheryl Bryce, Director of Eastern Monroe Public Library, by an individual commissioner on behalf of Pocono Township residents. That was me. The email stated Monroe County has sent a letter of intent to lease the remaining space in the new municipal building. The email also asked if Eastern Monroe Public Library had interest in this space. We realized this inquiry could potentially influence a current issue before your board. We felt to reply to the Board of Commissioners as a whole was most appropriate. The Board of Trustees of Eastern Monroe Public Library does not wish to interfere, impede, nor hinder any progress or plans made between Pocono Township and Monroe County or any other government agency. We believe the library would be better suited in an environment reflective of a community center. Should such an opportunity arise, we would welcome a discussion with Pocono Township Commissioners. We truly hope this letter helps the board move forward with your planning and development as a township. And I would just like to state that that is what I've been in favor of from the beginning, a library and community center in the currently empty wing of the building.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Jim or Pat, you got anything?
Just a couple of items. As I stated earlier, the parks opened last week. We've actually had some pretty good participation with the good weather that we had. Regarding the police wing, Chief Wagner and I had a conference call last week with the architect to discuss the police wing. We expect to receive final plans and a proposed itemized budget from them within the next 10 days. I also met with John Tressler and we discussed the best approach moving forward for bidding that project. So I'll keep the board apprised of that. Also, PMHIC Highmark membership, the township received a refund loyalty check in the amount of $1,032.84. The DPW staff has been out cleaning roads and intersections. They're also cleaning our stormwater facilities, including, thankfully, the pipe that feeds the ponds for the fishing derby this weekend. So thanks to those guys for stepping up and taking care of those items. And I had a call and did some visual inspection on Laurel Lake and Kevin's Lane drainage. I've spoken to our engineer about it. He'll be giving an update. And we do have a Laurel Lake drainage project scheduled for this year, later this year. That's all I have. Thank you.
Chief, anything?
I have nothing this evening from the police department. Thank you.
Do you mind, can you just talk a little about, how things are going? Obviously, you're our police chief, you're stepping in as co-manager. Can you just talk about how it's been going, balancing the work, working with Pat on operations? Can you just give us a brief summary?
Yeah, so I obviously I have a great command staff in the police department. The sergeants in my department have stepped up, helping me make this transition. I believe Pat and I have been since day one, which was now going back 2 weeks ago by now that this took place. Pat and I have been clicking like clockwork, we'll call it. We're making tremendous progress. Unfortunately, we're in a position where we've got to pretty much figure it all out on our own, and we've been making tremendous progress in doing so. We see a new excitement in some of the employees here. We're trying to improve morale and change the culture of the employment of the staff. So far, I think we've done a great job of that. And Erica deserves a lot of credit for stepping up in Jen's absence, taking over the role of our community events coordinator. So we greatly appreciate that as well. So she deserves a round of applause for stepping in as quickly as she has.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Anyone else have anything for Pat or Jim? Erica, do you want to talk about events at all? I just want to say, in case it hasn't been clear, I think someone mentioned, but Jen Gambino did resign as events, what was her title, director, coordinator?
Assistant Public Works Director.
She is
And
the events director.
Events director, thank you,
Yeah,
and
events
assistant
director.
public works director. So Erica's been filled in on the event side. So go ahead, Erica. I just wanted to say that.
We just had the Easter egg hunt last weekend. I think it went fairly well. A huge turnout, a lot more than we expected. We have upcoming this weekend the fishing derby, which we're excited and we're just about ready for it. And then we'll have the Pocono cleanup April 24th and 25th. And Pick Up the Poconos is also the April 25th. So if anybody needs any information, just give me a call at the township.
Thank you, Erica. Anyone have anything else for Erica? John?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I don't have too much. We've been working on this past week getting in the bids for the TLC Park Bridge, which you read tonight. We also purchased, the bid is going in two parts. The award tonight was for the demolition and construction of the wing walls and abutments. We're purchasing the bridge through CoStars. That contractor will bring it in and erect it once the abutments are done, so we've been coordinating that. Corp 5, there was a drainage issue out there on Kevin's Lane. I've been working with Corp 5's engineer to get that resolved. He did send me late this afternoon a solution which I'll review, and hopefully Pat and I will agree with it. If not, we'll suggest maybe he has to look at it a little bit harder. Swiftwater Solar, I know Ellen's not here, but she likes to hear about it. She can read the minutes. There was a meeting up there last Friday. There was a fish kill on the lower pond. The Conservation District was there. I believe DEP attended. We were there. But it was determined, I shouldn't say determined. The thought is that due to the cold winter and the ice on the pond, a lack of oxygen is what killed the fish. It had nothing to do with Swiftwater Solar. Swiftwater Solar is still experiencing some problems at their basin, which feeds that pond. It's Basin 305. So we're continuing to monitor that as they work through that issue to get it sealed off. And the other issue we've been working on with, as Pat mentioned, is Laurel Lake drainage. We're getting that ready for construction. So that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Anybody have anything for John? Leo?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Today, the township was in court on a sewer matter for one of the properties located within the township. We were able to resolve that matter favorably to the township. I'd like to thank Patrick Briegel, Paul Morgan, and Helen Beers, our SEO, for all the factual information and support that they provided. Other than that, legal has been busy, so if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them now. Otherwise, I have nothing else to report.
Anyone have anything for Leo? Then I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks everyone. Have a good night.
Short one.
So what would
So at the 20-foot line, they're gonna start the 25. I don't
Hey everybody, if you're still watching, stop.